Welcome back to the React Room. I'm your boy Dom K.
It's your boy AJ in the building.
And today we got two good reviews for you guys. We're going to be doing how the BTS Army changed fandom culture. It's another good guide by Boracity. It's a good way to understand how you guys, the BTS Army, changed fan groups forever. You know, they got a lot of fan groups out there. I told you I've seen Beyonce, the Beehive, you got Rihanna Navy, you got the Swifties with Taylor Swift, you got there's so many groups. I don't even. Nicki Minaj is the Barbs.
The Barbs.
It's just so many groups, and again, you guys are probably number one. Really are number one. Like as far as the movement of how you guys control the charts, how you guys keep the names out there. So it's just a good guide to understand where this started, where it's at now, and where it's going in the future. And for guys like us, we just fans of all types of music. We're gonna find out, learn a little bit, and right after this, we got a special request from you guys because you guys were, we did the Usher video yesterday. And you guys were like, well, how you didn't do the regular version? Well, because the comments requested the remix version. So you guys was like, no, we want the regular version too. So right after this, we're going to go straight into Jungkook, standing next to you, solo dolo.
Solo dolo, no Usher.
Well, first, how you guys changed fandom culture. So this one's for you guys, the real heroes. We're going to stop it at 6 and 12, give you initial thoughts, and then close it out like we usually do.
Every couple of months, I see a discussion of which fandom is the best fandom. And every single time, fandoms put in a crazy thing they did as one of the most legendary things that happen in pop culture. And these legendary moments are almost always related to some kind of invasion of privacy. For example, Affinity Magazine made a list of the One Direction fandom's most legendary moments. And all of the examples are interesting. But this is the fandom's number one moment. One Directioners hacked into airport and hotel security cameras just to watch the members of One Direction. And the fandom agrees that these are their most legendary moments. They are a hashtag Throwback Thursday. These are moments they are proud of. This is proof they invented fandom. It's moments like this that make them the most iconic fandom. And every time I see some kind of debate or discussion about which is the best fandom, it's usually a competition of which is the craziest fandom. I think it's because fandoms usually have the idea that the crazier the fandom acts, the bigger the fandom will be perceived. These type of fandoms are known to not only be extremely big, but also so crazy that they are considered some type of disease. It was the Beatlemania, the Justin Bieber fever, the One Direction infection. And as you can see, this negative image that media and the general public puts on big fandoms ends up convincing them to own their bad reputation, to even be proud of it. That was until the BTS fandom became the biggest fandom.
It's safe to say that ARMY are the most powerful fandom in the world. And the thing that brings them together? Their complete devotion to 7 men from South Korea and their unique message.
There's this common perception that the BTS Army and K-pop fandoms in general are extremely toxic. And the first problem I have with this idea is that BTS's fandom is being combined with a bunch of other fandoms that are not related to BTS. They are actually known to team up to compete against BTS's fandom. In reality, and generally speaking, ARMY reflects BTS's message, a message that K-pop groups, pop artists, and their fandoms lack. Of course, artists don't have to have a message, but BTS was socially conscious since their debut, leaving a clear impression on their fans and creating some kind of fandom etiquette. This fandom etiquette did not come as a list of rules that ARMY must follow. It was simply a consequence of the fandom understanding the message of BTS's music and their actions as people. Of course, I'm not saying that every single BTS fan is not toxic. There have been concerning invasion of privacy cases involving BTS. The difference is that this is not something the fandom celebrates. It's actually condemned and the exception to the rule. Actually, these toxic moments are talked about and called out within the fandom so much that it may feel like they happen all the time. But compared to other fandoms who encourage it and are proud of it, the BTS Army proves that they, maybe involuntarily, created a shift in fandom culture. ARMY is probably the first big fandom who doesn't want to be recognized as a mania or a fever or an infection, but just a group of people who not only practices respect, but also actually does productive things for BTS, each other, and the world. There's obviously going to be some toxic ones who don't represent the majority, but in the case of ARMY, the toxic side is microscopic compared to the majority non-toxic side. Just think about it. The BTS Army is bigger better than every K-pop fandom combined. BTS's behind-the-scenes YouTube channel has 74 million subscribers. Their Instagram has 72 million followers. Their 2 Twitter accounts have around 50 million followers each. And their recent TikTok account has around 60 million followers. You can argue that not all of these people are going to be ARMY. Some can be casual listeners or curious people from the general public. Maybe you only want to count the 50 million fans dedicated enough to pay for the official BTS Army annual membership. Of course, this excludes a lot of dedicated ARMYs who are not able to pay for the membership or that won't get the benefits because of their location or other factors. But still, if you only want to count these 50 million fans paying for the membership, you won't see 50 million
Stadium.
BTS fans. That would be insanity. But even if, let's say, you come across 1,000 very toxic fans who are extremely loud, there would still be less than 0.01% of the fandom with the membership. But there are millions of others who are not.
You
So
got
the
the clock?
percentage is even less than that. My point is that the overwhelming majority of ARMYs represent a fandom that pop culture has never seen before. As a consequence of following BTS's message, the BTS Army not only rejects the stereotype of a crazy historical fandom, but also proves with actions that they are different. Here are only some of the examples that show how the BTS Army changed fandom culture. This is an unspoken rule about being an ARMY. Their personal lives are not of our concern. This is way more common with small or medium fandoms, but the very big fandoms that ruled pop culture, especially during the internet era, treated artists' personal information as facts every fan should know. I remember that back then, to call yourself a real fan of any mainstream artist, you will have to know everything about their personal lives. There were guides to know their parents' and siblings' names, information, and other kind of details of the artist's personal lives. It was a thing that would come up on the popular Are You a Real Fan quizzes. But in general, BTS's fandom doesn't really care and even condemns fans digging up their personal information. The only personal information we celebrate is their birthdays, but that's it. Most ARMYs don't know and don't care to know about the members' family members and their lives. If anything, ARMYs are more likely to say that real ARMYs need to know BTS's music and legendary key points of their story in the music industry. But ask the most ARMY of ARMYs how many siblings a certain member has, and you won't get an answer from them. Ask what are the names of the member's parents to an ARMY, and they will tell you that that's not public information. This is because the BTS members always protected the privacy of their non-famous friends and family members. So it's an unspoken rule that ARMY doesn't need to know about these details of their personal lives. You may think it's obvious to not care about these details. You may think it's obvious to prioritize the music over other things. But in the world of crazy big fandoms, ARMY normalized.
What do you think up until this point?
Stadiums. You saw what they were showing?
Oh, that's no surprise.
They doing stadiums, not arenas.
Bro,
I don't know.
they got 15
people know how
mil-
hard that is.
They got 15 million people paying for memberships. If you can get 15 million people, that's like Netflix.
They had 2 accounts, 50 million apiece.
That's free accounts. That's people can follow. They got 15 million people paying for memberships. That shows you dedication. I've never seen any dedication like that. And they don't get involved in their personal life. And again, I understand what the lady's saying. Well, I'll enter that at the end when she was talking about like it's a small group.
Yeah,
but I understand with it. Well, let's finish this to get to 12.
Big shift.
Another fan-led initiative was also outside Citi Field, handing out purple ribbon wristbands. They serve as reminders to concertgoers to be respectful to their fellow ARMYs.
One of the most uncontrollable moments for ARMY is when some fans, the paparazzi, and the general public go see BTS at airports or their private schedules. I still believe that by the size of the fandom, it can be even worse and more dangerous than what it already is. But there have been moments that really show how ARMY changed a part of fandom culture involving privacy and the artist's safety. For example, when BTS started getting massive worldwide popularity, it became extremely difficult for the BTS members to walk through airports, even with tons of security guards. So ARMY organized the Purple Ribbon Project, in which ARMYs in the front row formed a barrier with purple ribbons to prevent BTS, other fans, and the airport staff from getting mobbed.
They got those purple ribbons for the security, so like they put all the way around us through in the airport and outside the airport and keep the security for like for us. Like, they did it themselves.
This helped a lot with the chaos in 2018, but as the years passed, BTS became bigger and bigger.
It's like when they got to LAX, it was like the Beatles were here. I mean, your fans.
It was
it's
on
really
Ellen.
incredible.
So ARMY's mentality had to and did change. Now, ARMYs encourage others to simply not go to the airport or any other locations where BTS has private schedules. For example, in South Korea, every man has to serve in the military for 18 months. So whenever a famous singer or actor has their military entrance ceremony, fans will go see them, even if the celebrities ask them
18
not
months.
to. However, during Jin's military entrance ceremony, he asked fans in an announcement to not visit him at his military entrance ceremony for his safety and the safety of other soldiers. So ARMYs listened and didn't go visit him. This is surprising because it's not only common but expected for fans to go to celebrities' military ceremonies. Of course, the paparazzi are the paparazzi. They didn't listen to Jin's announcement and went anyway, but they were surprised to go to the ceremony and not find the avalanche of fans they were expecting. And you can tell that the paparazzi were shocked from seeing a group of fans for the first time actually listening to the celebrities' wishes.
오지 말라고 했으니까 팬들이 진짜 잘 지켜요. 공항에서도
Again, this idea of not going to the airport or other public places where BTS has private schedules may sound obvious and common decency, but before ARMY started encouraging this, other big fandoms saw this type of mobbing as something to brag about. And if some fans told other fans to not go see their favorite artists at the airport, there would be a big entitled reaction. But now, the majority of ARMYs encourage others to give BTS their space. And there have been multiple occasions of ARMY accidentally finding the BTS members in different parts of the world and not saying anything until the BTS members are back in South Korea or post their travel pictures themselves. In return, BTS thanks every time ARMYs have pretended to not know them in public and have kept their location a secret.
Crazy.
The BTS Army is probably the most self-organized fandom. There were times when concert venues were simply not ready for the magnitude of a BTS concert. Here are only two recent examples. When BTS performed at SoFi Stadium in LA in 2021, the organization from the staff was so bad that ARMYs were still outside of the venue after the concert had already started. The fans had to do their own crowd control, despite asking the venue multiple times to increase safety measures. But the venue still had this bad organization for other future events where people got badly injured, making many believe that the reason why there were no serious injuries or accidents during the 4 BTS concerts was because of ARMY's self-organization. These 4 concerts were attended by 70,000 ARMYs in each day. BTS also had a one-day free concert in the city of Busan in South Korea in 2022. This concert was organized by the city, which received multiple complaints for their lack of organization and preparation for a free BTS concert. The only reason why the event was not a complete mess was because of BTS paying out of pocket for more safety measures.
아시아드 주경기장이나 부산 국제 락 페스티벌이 열리는 흠납 생태공원 등을 검토했지만 10만 명을 수용하려면 이곳이 가장 적절하다고 판단했습니다.
And ARMY being respectful to one another. BTS and ARMY's efforts for safety were recognized only after other massive festivity in South Korea was poorly organized by their city, only weeks after BTS's concert, leaving one of the biggest tragedies in the country. This type of lack of safety measures can be catastrophic. We saw it happening time and time again. This shouldn't be the public's full responsibility, but sadly, every time the venues are not prepared for a BTS concert, ARMYs take it upon themselves to organize themselves and avoid tragedies. And you can see the fandom's mentality as a whole in the little details too. If you've been to any concert or sport event, you've probably noticed how common it is for the place to become a mess as the event ends. But at the majority of BTS concerts, you will find ARMYs wearing masks out of respect for each other, even if it's not mandatory, using the fandom's light sticks to organize the after-concert traffic, and even leaving the trash organized. These kind of small forms of organization prove that the mentality of the great majority of ARMYs is of respect, not only to the members of BTS, but also to each other.
Bro, you seeing this?
52 50,000 people. They did a free concert for.
That they wasn't prepared for, and they had to
The
pay for
city
security
wasn't
themselves.
Yeah, and they paid out their own pockets.
And Hive was helping. But what's crazy is the self-organization of what's going on. No one's getting paid for this. No one, but they just doing this out of love. That's crazy.
And the respect that people have for them is that speaks numbers right there.
Man, come on, bro. This is definitely the best fans group. You know them other groups. I ain't gonna call them out, but they rude, bump into you, don't care, fighting. So these people are making sure everybody get around safely. Know everyone oh man, we just got a lot to learn, man.
A whole lot to learn after seeing this.
Let's wrap it up in 5. But come on, bro. Just make you think about yourself sometimes.
ARMY's respect for BTS and ARMY goes beyond the concern of privacy and safety. ARMYs are generous to each other. Small acts of generosity include ARMYs giving each other freebies at concerts. These are hundreds of small gifts ARMYs prepare for other ARMYs for free, and it can include BTS photo cards, stickers, accessories, snacks, bottles of water, and masks. It's not a BTS concert without this type of gifts. But these are personal acts of generosity by each ARMY. When ARMYs form a fan-based association, they can do bigger projects like the Purple Ribbon Project. Different fan bases help ARMYs understand different streaming platforms, music charts, BTS's history and discography. There are also organizations created by ARMY professionals that help guide and inform fans in anything related to medicine, law, engineering, and computer science. There are associations of ARMY tutors of courses like science, languages, math, social science, computer science, and art. All of these completely for free. There are also ARMY social media accounts that buy BTS's paid content and stream it for free or share download files so every single ARMY can watch it, even if they cannot pay for it. This may sound like it's not beneficial to the ARMYs paying for the content or to BTS, but there are still millions of fans buying the paid content and happy to see every ARMY being able to access the paid content. And again, this collective generosity is simply a reflection of BTS's message and actions. There were times when BTS themselves watched unofficial streams on camera and even told ARMYs watching unofficial streams that it was okay to do so. And this generosity by ARMYs is not performative. It's part of the core of the fandom. Look at what happened in a hidden camera experiment. Someone left an unattended BTS merch table at a Kpop flea market, and instead of ARMYs stealing the merch, they ended up paying more than the expected revenue and even donating their own merch to the table.
Wow.
398,790원이 나왔어요. 아니 어떻게 345,500원보다 더 나온 거예요? 현장에서 팬들이 직접 굿즈를 기부하신 분들도 있었대요. 우리 방탄소년단이 전 세계에 미치는 큰 가치만큼 우리 아미분들의 행동 또한 정말 멋있다는 생각이 드는데요.
BTS donated $1 million to Black Lives Matter, and the ARMY was like, yo, if they can do it, we can do it. And they came, like, fans who were already coming out of the pocket to support artists, came out of pocket more to support charity. And this isn't the first time they've done this.
Finally, ARMY not only cares and respects each other and BTS, they also care about the world. You've probably heard about the one time BTS donated $1 million to Black Lives Matter, and ARMY matched their $1 million donation in 24 hours. But these type of actions happen all the time. ARMY is probably the first big fandom that made donating to charities and volunteering part of their mission.
They wanted to say thank you to me for something, and they organized something like charitable in my name. And part of me was like, why isn't everyone's fans doing this? Can you imagine if everyone's fans thanked them by organizing charity in their name?
ARMY has participated in thousands of charity projects around the world, including collecting trash, planting trees, donating food and clothes to shelters, and much, much more. When BTS had to cancel their entire Map of the Soul tour because of the COVID pandemic, many ARMYs donated the money of their ticket refunds to COVID relief efforts and organizations. When concerts returned, tickets for BTS concerts sold out fast. So some ARMYs who were not able to get tickets donated their ticket money to organizations helping Ukraine. Again, I'm not saying that ARMY doesn't have a toxic side. In a fandom this big, there will always be at least a small number of very loud toxic fans, but they are not the majority, not even close. There's this popular idea that the internet is full of these toxic armies, but I dare you to actually click on their accounts and read what they are actually saying about BTS. I assure you, the toxic fans you come across are not actual armies. They are troll accounts pretending to be ARMY just so people can hate on BTS and their fandom.
Trolls.
Like I said, armies are not K-pop stans. Actually, K-pop stans and other fandoms team up to compete against ARMY. This has happened since ARMY became the most powerful fandom in 2017, and as a consequence, BTS became the most successful group. So if we compare ARMY to other global fandoms of similar magnitudes, I would say that ARMY is the fandom that has done the most good. ARMY is the first big fandom who constantly rejects the craziest stereotype from the media and the general public. ARMY goes far and beyond to protect BTS's privacy and personal space, more than any other big fandom. ARMYs hold each other accountable and look for ways to improve the fandom at all times. ARMY cares about each other's safety and is generous to each other and the world. That's how ARMY changed fandom culture. Being the most powerful fandom is not just about having a lot of crazy fans anymore. It's about being part of a productive community. It's more than just repeating a positive slogan. This is why I think the toxic stereotype of ARMY should disappear, because it's extremely misleading.
The ARMY are great. Also, they're so poorly represented in culture as these like fangirl, crazy, like mindless, and they're the opposite. They're like intelligent, they're funny, they're tasteful, they're charitable.
There has never been a fandom community like this, and the world should see it for what it actually is.
Man, I got a whole new level of respect of them right now, man.
Look.
After seeing that, that's a whole new level of respect of what they doing
I'm
for
not
the
surprised.
entire world. This is not just in their country. They donated $1 million to the Black Lives Matter movement when that was going on. That's big.
I mean, all I know is
Having all different type of charity events.
I
Even the
told you.
fans was putting charity events in their name, just showing their respect for all the work they do.
I told you when this video first started, I knew they were number one based on how are you organizing events solo? Bro, no one's organizing nothing for nobody for free unless it's for their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you out doing the things that they doing and you donating money, you being respectful to each other, you selling out arenas, you're not showing up to these dudes personally, because that can be very dangerous. When you get to them fan groups like who really like obsessed, it can lead to stalking, someone getting hurt, someone getting killed. It can lead to all type of tragedy and gunshot. Like, it's been a lot of stuff with that over the years. So to get a fan group like this, and it's pretty refreshing. And the last thing, so I do understand some of the fandom's frustration with the toxic label they get. I'm gonna say this, it comes from two places. It comes from the Western media and people trying to discredit what they trying to make, because I used to think BTS fans were just K-pop girls. That's what I used to think, crazy gay K-pop girls that was like standing over a boy group. But that's how they portrayed it in the media. But like the woman said, that's read the comments. These are people who are educated. These are people in Brazil. These are people in Tokyo. These are people in America. These are people from Europe, all over the world. 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, grandmothers, doctors, lawyers. I see people with kids who work in banks, and it's just so random to people. And it's like, it's just refreshing. So it's like, I understand why people will try to shut that down. And then when they so charitable like that and it's respectful, and I get it. But you guys changed culture forever. This is what the new standard is moving forward.
Nobody else doing this like that on this stage.
Of course not. And with that being said, the number one fan group, like I said at the beginning, was the BTS Army. And this just confirmed I was correct. You guys are definitely the number one fan group. You spend the most money. You're the most dedicated. You know the most about it. You care about people's feelings. You care about the artists. You don't invade their personal lives. You don't do stalkerish things. Number one. So congratulations, Army. You changed it forever. Now as promised.
Purple hearts up.
We're going to get into Jungkook. Jungkook standing next to you official.
Solo. No Usher on this one. No Usher. I ain't seen a limo in so long.
Solo, that's swaggy. Hey. Oh, Michael Jackson?
Yeah. I see why you guys told us to watch this one first.
Now I'm gonna say this. You guys were right. This is a better song solo. It is a better song solo. But I will say this. I like the dancing. This choreography was good, but I just like him with Usher too.
Usher
But
dancing,
when you next to a legend doing that, it just looks better. So choreography wise, I like that one better. But the song wise, you absolutely right. The solo one is better. The solo one is, but it was a remix. That's what it was supposed to be. It was a remix. It was a cool little remix.
Yeah, he killed this.
And remember, we talked about that. You can't be toxic just because we love Jungkook. It's nothing wrong with him doing a remix with Usher. You guys ain't got to be in the comments talking about this is better. It's all good. We all of it's great.
You gotta have some type of greatness if Usher came on the song.
Right, but this is definitely great. This is greatness at its finest, and this song is a 10 out of 10. And you guys are right. You guys tell us in the comments, what do you think? Are we right in giving this a 10? Were the fans right? Is this better than the remix? You let us know. What do you think? I want to know. Everybody answer. Which version do you like more? The remix or this version? Like, share, subscribe, comment, and always with love.
Peace.